friends, welcome back to Bumble Stitches. My name's Nicola and this is my little stitchy corner of YouTube where I share with you things that I've been up to with my cross stitch, sewing and any quilting that I get up to. Today is Sunday the 6th of February and this is episode, I need to check, 29. I always forget what number I'm up to of the episodes. A big warm welcome to everybody that's joining with me today, whether you are a new subscriber or if you've been with me for a while. I appreciate you all. I also appreciate all your lovely comments and messages, and especially those of you that have contributed to my Ko-fi account, which helps me with postage on the freebies that I give away on this channel. So I hope you're all well and you've had a lovely time since I saw you last. I did plan in my planner to pop in and see you all last weekend, but as it sometimes does, life got in the way. We had a very busy weekend here and I just couldn't find the time. So I'm a little bit out of schedule. It's been 3 weeks since my last Flosstube episode and it's thrown me out a little bit because, as you know, I have been using my my planner and it's thrown everything out now for when I've scheduled Flosstubes. So I've either got to start scribbling stuff out and make my pretty planner unpretty, or squeeze in a quick Flosstube next week just to bring me back on schedule. But I've had time to do quite a bit of stitching and I'm still following my rotation really well, which is helping me quite a lot. I'm really pleased with how it's going. But life updates, there's been a couple. Notably, my daughter Lulu got married last weekend, so big congratulations to her and her new husband. So that kept us all quite busy, and we did look after Milo for a few days while they went away for just a sort of a mini honeymoon. So that kept me very busy. I popped a tiny bit of footage at the beginning of this episode of a little walk that we took, and also a little quick walk down to the seafront, but that was really bracing and cold, so we didn't actually stay there for very long. I'll just move on now to the WIPS that I've been stitching on since the last episode. And you will have seen some of these before, I'm sure, if you are a returning viewer. But hopefully you'll enjoy seeing my progress. So I'm going to start off with our old favourite. This is like an old friend, isn't it? Anniversaries of the Heart. And I did plan to get this block completely finished. And I'm almost there. I just need to do the basket here a little bit more around the border with another shade of floss. And I think there's a couple of little doodads just to complete here and there, so then that block will be done. This is of course a series of 12 charts from Blackbird Designs, and if you haven't seen it before, this is the first row that I've done. And I actually took the time yesterday to cut this fabric down a bit. It was absolutely huge. It was I think it was a half yard of 30 count legacy linen in pecan shortbread, I think it is. So it's still really big, but it's a little bit shorter than it was, a little bit smaller, and that means it's a little bit less to sort of wrangle when I'm actually stitching on it. So I definitely need to get that block finished. That's I've forgotten the name of the pattern. Why don't I just get it out of my bag? That will make life so much easier. Yeah, it's Pink Hill Manor, so I'm very nearly done with this one, and then I'll be moving on to Farmhouse. And I've got a couple of the flosses that I needed for this, which I'll show you when I show you my haul a little bit later on. So that's coming along very slowly, but at least now it is in my rotation and in my planner. It is seeing some love every month, and eventually at some point in the future we will have a finish on that one. So I'm going to pop that over there on the sofa. The next WIP, I have worked on my Prim Stitch series a little bit as well, but it really is a tiny bit. I've been stitching on that in the car at lunchtime, so I'm not going to show it to you this time. I'll hopefully get the block that I'm working on finished and show it in a couple of weeks' time. But the next thing I wanted to share with you is very exciting. At the moment it's in this little sort of plastic poly bag that I picked up from Amazon, but there is news on the bag situation soon. And this next piece that I wanted to share is the How Does Your Garden Grow mystery stitch along from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And I did iron this and it's got a bit crumpled in the bag. I'm very happy to report that I have completed part 1 of the mystery. This comes out every month on the 21st of the month, so the next piece will be out on the 21st of February. So I'm all caught up for now. I'm notorious for not keeping up with stitch along, so I'm hoping that I can keep up with this one. But look how cute the tomatoes and the pumpkins and those little gorgeous little whimsical toadstools there, and of course the lovely watering can. I'm stitching mine using all of the called for DMC that came in the kit, and I'm just wondering what's happened to, there's a needle minder somewhere but I don't know what I've done with it. All of the called for DMCs that I've put onto floss drops, so there are some gorgeous colours in this one. Such a pretty stitch, and the fabric I've chosen is the 32 count Zweigart even weave in blue that came with the kit also. And of course with all of these stitch alongs it's never too late to join in. You know, there is a schedule to it, but you can stitch when you want, how you want. So if you want to join in with that one, you can still get that from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and I'll leave a link down below in the description box. This is the little guy I was looking for. This is Norm the Gnome, and he's the really cute little needle minder that comes with the full, I got as an addition to the full kit. So you can see him there, and he's perfectly matched to the DMC floss colours that are in the kit. Really, really cute. So that's my How Does Your Garden Grow stitch along, and I've seen some stitches out there are so fast, literally within a couple of days of the first release on Friday the 4th of Feb. I think by the Sunday I'd seen people that had completed part 1, so I just need some of that fast stitchiness. Okay, moving on. The next thing I stitched on, by the time I'd finished the Garden Grow, it was the 25th of the month, and I am taking part in the 25th day stitch along that Laurie Holt started. And here's my progress so far on Baby It's Cold Outside by Heartstring Samplery. And my fabric is looking very moody in this light, and I think once it gets the white snowflakes on it's going to look really, really pretty. I'm using my lovely bag that my friend Paula included in our Advent swap just to keep that wintry vibe going, and I'm using, I think, almost all the called for flosses, but DMC 712 in place of grits that I couldn't get hold of at the time that I bought my flosses. And here is the chart. Again, I showed this last time. It'll make an appearance once a month as I continue on the 25th day with this particular piece. But it's really nice. I mean, I'm not a fast stitcher, and if the 25th day happens to fall on a weekday, so I've only got the evening when I come home from work and sort of dinner and chores are done, then there isn't a lot of time to stitch on it, but it's just nice to see a bit of progress, and it's nice to get a bit of the white roof on there now, just to get that effect of how the snowflakes are going to look. And I think once the houses are done, the text goes quite quickly, doesn't it? And if the 25th day happens to fall on a weekend, then it will get a little bit more love. In fact, I'm just going to check, when does it fall? No, February's 25th is a Friday, so at least I can stay up a bit later because it will be a Friday night, so it might see a little bit more stitchy time on that particular piece. Just put that away. And again, while I was trimming down the fabric for Anniversaries of the Heart, I also took time to just run a zigzag stitch along some of my fabrics that had raw edges. And this fabric is Fibre on a Whim 32 count espresso. You can see it's a really lovely mottled, moody fabric. The next WIP that I wanted to share with you is actually a new entry to my rotation. My rotation is actually quite full, well, very full at the moment. One would almost say over committed, but there's always a little space where you can sneak something in when you love it, even if it's just a start. So I couldn't resist but to make a start on the Vintage Housewife pattern from Laurie Holt, Be in My Bonnet. I shared this last time. I'm just going to get all the bits out of the lovely denim daisy bag and share with you. I'm not going to get all the flosses out because they're on the floss flowers and they are a little bit unruly. So I'm just going to show you the flosses that I've been using so far, if I can put my hand on them all and get organised. So these are the floss flowers, and I've popped my DMC on there, and I just used plain little white stickers that I bought in, did I get them on Amazon? I probably did get them on Amazon, and just wrote on them with a pen the colours of the DMC so that I know exactly what I'm doing there. My progress is, let's get organised, pop this on my board. I'm using a 32 count antique white Belfast linen from Zweigart, and I have made a tiny start, as you can see in the top left corner, and this is going to be the, you can see it here, is this little block here, the ironing block, or laundry. I'm guessing it's laundry, but it's got the iron and the fabrics and the coat hanger there. So that's really, really adorable, and I just love the floss colours. I started with just enough of the gingham border so that I knew where the border of this block should start, and I'm stitching it 2 strands of the DMC over 2 on this 32 count linen, and the light here today isn't really doing the colours justice. I'm trying to, but the colours of the floss are so pretty, and I love the effect on this particular linen that I've chosen. I think the called for is a, I think it's a Lugana, a 25 count Lugana, but I wanted this to be a little bit smaller. So on 32 count, the stitched area is going to be 10 inches across by 12 1/4 down, so it won't be too big, and hopefully eventually this will be framed and in my kitchen. I do have some, I've got lots of grand plans for everything, and unfortunately not enough time to do them, but I do plan to do a revamp of our kitchen. I would really love to get a completely new kitchen, but I think it's going to be a few years before our budget will allow us to do that. So in the meantime, I'm planning on taking the cupboard doors off of all the cabinets and painting them in a cream sort of chalk paint. And I think once that's, you know, a little bit of a makeover, if you like, and I think this will look really cute once I do a kitchen makeover. So that is in my rotation now. It has snuck in, it forced its way into my heart, and now I just love it. I want to stitch on this more, but I've got other commitments to keep up with until I can go back to it. But it is scheduled in for later this month, so we will see the return of that soon. So I'll pop that one away. I'm being super tidy today. And the next WIP is, this is really exciting, and I feel so chuffed to have been asked to take part in this particular stitch along. And it is, of course, the Heartfelt from Fat Quarter Shop. So I have got this gorgeous big Heartfelt project bag, which has been made so big so that it can be used for either the quilt along that's going on at the same time, or for the cross stitch along, or both, or all, anything you want to put in it. It's really a big, generous, gorgeous, hearty bag. So in here I have, I'll show you some of the things that I have for the stitch along, and I will explain some of the details for you in case you don't know. I'm sure lots of you watch Kimberly's Fat Quarter Shop Flosstube as well, so you're probably aware. But Heartfelt is part of the 2022 charity Stitch and Quilt Along in aid of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. These are the details that I have here of the stitch along. If you're not familiar, Make-A-Wish is a truly wonderful charity that with donations grants wishes to children that have very, very debilitating illnesses or are terminally ill, and it is, I think, just a wonderful thing. I was very fortunate to actually know a friend of mine here in the UK. Her son was granted a wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation here in the UK, and he was taken to Disney in the United States and had the most wonderful trip there, which made an absolutely huge difference, not only to him but also to his mum and dad and his sisters as well. It was just a life-changing experience for all of them. So I can tell you firsthand that the work that Make-A-Wish do is absolutely outstanding, and if you can support them in any way, I would urge you to do so. The patterns for the quilt along and the stitch along are free on the Jolly Jabber blog, which I will put a link to down below. Fat Quarter Shop do ask that you make a donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I will pop details of that down below as well, although it's also on their blog and their website. And they suggest a donation of $20. I'm not sure, I think that works out to around about £15 in British pounds, in sterling. But of course, if you can, if you can donate £20, that's even better, because your money is going to such a fabulous cause. The donations from Fat Quarter Shop's link do go to the, let me just check, I think it's to the Central and South Texas Make-A-Wish Foundation. But of course, if you wanted to donate to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, if there's one in your country or a similar charity, then I'm sure that would be absolutely fine too. Now, this stitch along comes in 6 monthly parts. Release 1 is out already, which is the border. I'm going to hold it a bit closer in case you haven't seen it already. So this month we're stitching all the borders, so all the way around, to make those columns ready for all those lovely quilty stars and hearts. Let me show you what I am using for mine. I have chosen the Fibre on a Whim 32 count Belfast linen in the colourway Stone, which I thought was so pretty. As you know, I love 32 count, is my sweet spot. I love stitching at that on that fabric size, and it gives me, I like the way my stitches look on it, and I find it the most relaxing to do. can stitch on 36 count, but I do have to really concentrate. So that's the fabric that I've chosen. I've also chosen the Heartfelt Aurifil flosses that have been specially curated for this stitch along, which are absolutely beautiful. I love the Aurifil flosses. I've been using them for my Prim Stitch series as well. So I think if I hadn't have already been using them, I would have been a little bit unsure, because there is obviously a DMC, there's a DMC conversion as well, which is all on this information sheet here. Or that was just me doing my little workings out of the size on 32 count. So yeah, you can choose DMC or the Aurifil. And what I have done is I have put them all in this beautiful special edition Heartfelt keepsake box. And this is such a cute idea, because when I'm stitching with floss on drops, they're on a ring and they're all tidy, but when you've got spools, they can get a little bit unruly. So to pop them all in a gorgeous box like this is just perfect. And as you can see, they all fit in there nicely. And as I've got a little bit of floss that I'm not using, I just wind it around my fingers and pop it on top where I know it's all safe. But aren't those colours just beautiful? This one's looking a little bit dark here. Let me take it out. Absolutely stunning, but then you have the gorgeous coral and through to the pinks and the greens and the greys, and it's all just beautiful. It's based on the fabric line by Corioda, of which I can't remember the name of the fabric line, but that's being used for the quilt along too. So if you're a quilter, you can quilt along as well. I'll show you my progress. It isn't a huge amount of progress, but this is on my rotation for the next few days, so I will be able to get caught up. So I've started on the borders, and you can see it's almost like a chain. Really, really pretty, a nice rhythm to it, so that you can just get into it. Once you get going, you can just keep going. You don't need to keep referring to the chart once you know how many sort of links in the chain you need before you do your next drop down. So I will be getting that done, and I love the way this looks on this Fibre on a Whim linen. The actual chart called for the, I think it was for the light grey. Let me just double check for you. So that's, yeah, called for the light grey, which is the Aurifil 6726, which is this one. Let me get the one out that I'm actually using as well. But because I'm using a slightly different fabric than was used in the model, I thought this might have got a little bit lost on this fabric, because I've substituted with the darker grey, and I'm really pleased with how it looks. So if you want to get on board and join in on this stitch along and make a difference to a child that really needs something to look forward to, then please get involved and make your donation and stitch or quilt along with us all. Inevitably, once you start a project, you start to think, or I do, as you're stitching, of how am I going to finish this when it's completely done? What do I think this is going to end up being? Is it going to be a framed piece? Is it going to be a pillow? Is it going to be a drum? Is it going to be whatever? So I was thinking about this, and then I remembered that I bought a little finishing piece a while ago, actually, in a shop here in the UK called The Range, and it's one of those sort of like bargain sort of home shops that sells stuff quite cheaply and has a little bit of everything. You know the sort of shop I mean. I wouldn't say, I don't really know what Target does. I don't know if Target does groceries and stuff as well, but it doesn't sell groceries, but it sells all those bits and pieces that you never knew you needed until you walked into the shop. So I bought this plaque in there, which has this gorgeous tin painted heart at the bottom, if I hold it back. And I thought, oh, if I paint this and pop my completed Heartfelt on with sticky board, and then I could paint this heart to match one of the corals or pinks in the piece. I thought it would look really, really pretty, but I don't think it's going to be big enough, and I really desperately want it to be big enough, but I think it's just going to be a little bit too narrow at this point. There may be a way of making it work if I finish the piece and put it on sticky board. I think there's only going to be about a 1/2 inch overhang. It shouldn't be too bad. I might be able to sort of fudge a way to make it work, so I think it would look so pretty. And this piece, if you're in the UK, this piece was £3.99, so really, really cheap, and it is wooden, and I thought with a little bit of paint on there it could make a really pretty finish. But where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm sure I can find a way to make that actually work. I'm going to move on now to, I'm just going to put Heartfelt away for the time being until this afternoon when I'll be stitching on it again. And then I'm going to move on to some stitchy plans. And as I mentioned, I don't really have any room in my rotation at the moment, but it's amazing what you will do to actually start something that you really, really want to start. And oh, there's one more WIP that I forgot to show you. So let's just rewind, show you the last WIP, and then we'll move on to the stitchy plans. You're sitting here looking at me and I didn't even remember to pick it up. My Garden Grow stitch along from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, as I said, it's living in just a regular bag that I picked up from Amazon. Nothing wrong with that, perfectly serviceable, keeps the project clean, tidy, everything all in one place. But I do like a pretty bag, and I shared last episode that I wanted to make a watering can bag from the Tending the Garden block in Laurie Holt's Farm Girl Vintage 2 book. So I got all my fabrics together, I shared them last time, and I sat down last, whenever it was, weekend I think it was, might have been on Sunday, and pieced the Tending the Garden block. So here it is, it's all quilted. I've used all Laurie Holt fabrics and I'm really pleased with it. I had intended to get this all made up into the bag ready to share with you today, but again, I just ran out of time, so I thought I'll share it as it is, and then hopefully I'll get a little bit of time to actually make it up into a bag and complete it. But I used all Laurie Holt fabrics. A lot of these were from a 10-inch stacker that I had, and some little scraps from other projects. And the backing is one of my favourites. This is Penmanship in the sort of aqua colourway. And when this was just a pieced block before I'd quilted it, I kept looking at it on my design board and thinking, oh, you know, I could have done that better, and you know, I could have matched up the because this Penmanship fabric has got horizontal lines. I could have, you know, I could have pattern matched this perhaps and made it all a little bit more, you know, professional. And but the magic of quilting, it's, if you're a knitter or a crocheter, you will know about the magic of blocking. You finish your piece and you think, it's not great, I'm not, and then you block it and it's like magic happens. Well, I think quilting is the blocking for fabric. It's just completely transformed it. And once I'd quilted it yesterday, and I just used, these are just 1.5 inch squares, just in sort of like a cross hatch design. All those little imperfections seem to fade into the background, don't they? And you just fall in love with your project all over again. So I'm really pleased I managed to get this far with it. I've got the rest of the fabric, the zip, the rickrack, everything is, I hope you can see me, the sun's really sort of coming through today. But hopefully this will be a bag really, really soon. And I just put, it's just a plain white fabric on the back, just to get that piece quilted up. Okay, now we have finally seen all of the works in progress. I'm going to move back onto those stitchy plans. And I showed that I was planning on working on Winter Rose Manor in the last episode. And the fabric that I had chosen was Seashell by XJU Design. And I liked it. I thought, yeah, it's okay, it's going to work. It worked okay with the flosses, but I wasn't, you know, when you're not crazy about it. So I thought, what can I do? What can I do to make it, you know, give it, it just needed a little something extra. So I hemmed the piece so that it didn't all go crazy in the water, and then I just popped it in a dye bath of some walnut crystals just for a few minutes. It's a little bit speckledy in places. People that dye linen don't need to worry about me coming on the scene because it's not my forte, but I think it's fine for the purpose that I have. It's just taken it, taken a little bit of the pinkiness out of it. I thought it was a little bit too pinky before. And I have gone ahead and bought the rest of the flosses that I needed because I didn't have all of the flosses. So I now have all, they're mostly the called for. I couldn't get hold of WIPS Dye Works Sandcastle, so I'm going to substitute Cattail for Sandcastle. Had that in stash and I think that will work quite well. And the pattern calls for roasted marshmallow for the snowy areas, which I've got here, but it is really quite creamy. And Liz from Elizabeth Ann Stitch had substituted Classic Colourworks toasted marshmallow, so we're still in the marshmallow family, but this is a much brighter, cooler, going towards white, and I think I'm going to go with this. So these are my flosses. I'm going to attempt to show you them on the fabric, so if you just bear with me 1 second while I just attempt to lay them on here, and hopefully you'll be able to see how they're going to look on there. So that's my fabric and floss for Winter Rose Manor, and of course the pattern or the chart is from Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, and it is stunning. Obviously Liz has finished hers and it is beautiful, and also Michelle from Penny's Daughter Shares has been she's been going like a train on this one, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And I think she's probably, by the time I've filmed this, I wouldn't be surprised if she's finished it, because she's been really going for it with this one, and it's absolutely beautiful. There's just a little closer look. So this one is going to make an appearance in my rotation probably in about a week's time, so I am really looking forward to getting a start on it. The next plan that I have is, this is a plan that occurred to me this morning, literally this morning, and I blame Instagram completely, because I was drinking coffee, sitting in bed, scrolling through Instagram, as you do, and saw a really sweet pattern, cross stitch pattern, and I thought, oh, that is amazing, I need to stitch that. So my plan involves celebrating our Queen's 70th Jubilee, her Platinum Jubilee. It's 70 years actually today, February the 6th, that she acceded to the throne. Sadly, obviously the same day that her father, George VI, passed away, so it's today the actual sort of her accession to the throne. So I thought there's going to be lots of celebrations. I think the official celebrations are in June. I'm hoping to see lots of pomp and pageantry on the television. I'm sure there will be millions of souvenir things about mugs and plates and tea towels and all those things that come out. Some obviously much nicer than others, but I thought, oh, I would like to make some crafty things in celebration of such an amazing achievement by our Queen. So I saw this pattern this morning on Instagram and immediately zoomed, I think is the word that Laura uses, over to Helen Phillips Etsy shop and downloaded this super cute pattern. just a little pin cushion or a little ornament. You can pop a little ribbon to hang it on or make it into a scissor fob or whatever you like, but how sweet. I thought it was really, really cute. Obviously this is shown on Ada and it looks gorgeous in both colourways, but because I had been a good girl and trimmed down my anniversaries of the heart, I had an offcut of this 30 count pecan shortbread, so I thought I might stitch mine on this fabric. I can't show you the next bit because it has got the chart on. Well, I can do this. Let's do this. So it calls for DMC flosses, and I'm sure lots of stitchers can sit and do this in one little stitchy session in an evening or an afternoon, because there really isn't a lot of stitching there. I think it doesn't tell you how many stitches by how many stitches, but it suggests using a 14 count Ada, so that would be sort of 28 count in linen or even weave, and it finishes at approximately 3.5 by 3 3/4 inches. So obviously if I'm doing mine on a 30 count, it will be fractionally smaller, so it will be super cute, hopefully. So that's the linen that I'm going to use. Also, while rummaging in my stash for things, I found this super cute little key charm. Let me get my board so I can show you this properly. Otherwise everything just disappears into the background, doesn't it? So this really super cute little key, which I thought could be tied on to the pin cushion once it's completed. I thought that would look rather cute. Of course, I'm going to keep it in my Union Jack bag that I made some point last year. This was going to be a gift for somebody, but it didn't make the cut because just the sewing was a bit questionable. So it will live in there, and then that was it. Once I decided I was doing that, my brain went into overdrive, and I was thinking of all the things I could make that would help to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. So if you are a very, very, very long-term watcher, you have probably seen this piece before. I've had this for an absolute age. This is an old embroidered piece that I've had for at least 15 years. I'm sorry if the light, I'm actually hoping the sun will go in, which seems a little bit counterintuitive. But this is a piece of just is surface embroidery. It's not cross stitch. There we are. You can see it a bit better there. And I bought some old women's magazines, you know, just like, I think it was called Woman's Own or something, at a vintage fair yonks and yonks and yonks ago, and I think I was using it for scrapbooking or junk journaling or something like that. I just wanted some old sort of, you know, retro images to sort of cut up and use for that. And in the middle of the magazine was a feature, because the magazine was dated sort of 19, whenever it was, 53, yeah, it must have been 53, that was the year of the coronation. And it was a commemorative pattern to commemorate the coronation, and somebody had actually stitched the piece and put it in the magazine, probably waiting to frame it someday, and never ever got round to it. And so it was just the most wonderful thing to find, and I've kept it ever since and not known what to do with it. And I've showed it a couple of times over sort of, even on when I used to do knitting podcast, I shared it then, and it just keeps getting put back into my stash and I don't do anything with it. And I thought, right, if this is not the year to do something with it, then I don't think I ever will. You can see it has this little space here where I think the intention was to put a photograph of the Queen at her coronation. I'm still not really sure what to do with that. If I may just leave it blank. I wouldn't want to sort of ruin it, or, you know. But how fabulous is it? I had a frame that I bought at IKEA a couple of months ago. Just bought a couple of frames just because, thought they'd be handy. So I've got this frame, it's still got the plastic in it. But it's got quite a nice sort of moulded frame, and I think this will fit in here. So I think I need to get this mounted in some way and popped into this frame for my yeah, for my own little Jubilee celebrations. And as I said, my mind got into overdrive. I was thinking about all the things, wanting to make all the things. And then I remembered that I had downloaded this pattern from Amy Smart, diaryofaquilter.com. And this is the Regent Street Union Jack's quilt. And I fell in love with this. And I actually bought all the fabrics for this. I think it was about well, I can tell you when it was last May, because I bought the fabrics to celebrate getting my job. So I've still got them sitting here. I've got the fat quarter bundle of all these gorgeous fabrics, and I've got in my sewing room, I've got the fabric for the sashing and the backing and the binding, and it's all there. All I need to do is buy the batting. And some of these have got, you can see at the bottom there, they've got like Buckingham Palace, St Paul's Cathedral, and all sorts of lovely sort of London iconic buildings. And I just think it will be amazing. I don't know when I'm going to find time to do it, but I'm going to try. I'm going to definitely do the little pincushion. I'm definitely going to frame the old embroidery, and even if I just make a small start on the quilt, I think it'll be fun. So if you want to join in with me, this is not anything, there's no sort of hard and fast schedule, but if you want to go, I'll pop the link to Helen Phillips pattern for the tiny pillow or pincushion. I'll pop that link to that down below. This was really, really cheap. This was like £2.50 or something like that. Really, really cheap. If you want to join in with me, I think it'd be really, really fun. So that's my little extra plans. Okay, I think I am getting a little bit carried away with time now. I thought this was going to be a quick update, but apparently not. So I will move on now to winners of the last episode's giveaways, and without further ado, the winner of the Stitch Card Set K from Laurie Holt, using the word transport, is Janet Jenkins. So congratulations, Janet. Drop me an email at the email address down below and let me know your postal address, and I will get this in the post to you. The next winner, and I had a very cheeky keyword for this, which was bottom, and you guys had some really good comments. This is Farm Life. It's an It's So Emma pattern with the lovely little bottoms of the cow, the sheep and the pig. And the winner of this is Joanne Pacheco. I'm going to pop little images up here so you can see. So Joanne, congratulations to you on winning Farm Life. And finally, the flea market baskets, which is a stunner from Laurie Holt for It's So Emma, and this is actually a year-long stitch along that's going on at the moment, and still plenty of time to join in on this one as well. And the winner of this is Christy Flanagan. So Christy, congratulations on winning flea market baskets. So congratulations to all our lucky winners, and thank you to everybody that entered the giveaways. I don't have any giveaways today for you, unfortunately, but hopefully next episode I will. I'm going to show you a little bit of haul that I have acquired since I last saw you, and then I'm going to let you get on with your stitchy and the rest of your day. So let me just show you the haul. And just reach over, excuse me. The first thing, this was just such a lovely surprise. My mum saw some relatives that she hadn't seen for a little while, and there were some belated Christmas gifts, which that's a bit of a bonus at the end of January, isn't it? And my cousin Joanna had bought me this adorable Liberty of London in this little clear box here. It's a pin cushion in the shape of a bee skep in Liberty of London fabric, with all these absolutely beautiful little felt bees, and they're all embroidered, and even their little legs and antenna are embroidered too. So I thought that was absolutely gorgeous. So now I've shared it with you. I'm going to pop that next to me when I stitch, because I am absolutely notorious, even though I have needle minders on my projects, for just popping my needle into the arm of the chair or the cushion of the chair, or even into through my my clothes. I just sort of pop it into my leg through the fabric of my trousers. So I think this is a really good idea and super cute. So thank you, Joanna, that is beautiful and will be cherished. What else has arrived this week? I got a couple of flosses for the farmhouse pattern, which is the next one I'm going to be doing of Anniversaries of the Heart. So I've got Fool's Gold, which is a really variegated, pretty gold and silver, well, not silver, gold and beiges in there, and the mulled berries, which is in the border of the farmhouse. So I got those so that I can continue on with Anniversaries of the Heart. The second part of my Nutcracker Village from Country Cottage Needleworks arrived. I've got a monthly subscription for this kit with, or this series I should say, with the Patchwork Rabbit. And so part 2 has arrived, which is called Sugar Plums Sweet Shop. And that is really pretty. I love the colours on this one. I haven't made a start on Nutcracker Village at all. That will be for later in the year. So I'm just trying to, oops, quite a lot of the flosses, the bulk of the flosses, I dropped a white one on the floor, but you know what white looks like. The bulk of the flosses came with part 1, but Hazelnut and Rain Shower have arrived because they are called for in this particular pattern. While I was ordering flosses, I saw something that caught my eye from Stacey Nash, and it's this Animal Cracker Crumbs series, and this is Oliver, and he is just one of the cutest things I think I've ever seen. I'm going to take him out of the bag so that you can see clearly, and of course I want to start this straight away, but I just cannot at this stage in time. So there he is, stitched up with some lovely sort of silk seam binding as his ribbon, and a little hanging ribbon as well. But I just think his little face is so cute. There are some others in the series. I think Peakside Needleworks had this one, and I'm sorry if you can't see me in the sun, and also Milo, which was a bear, and I will need to be getting that one as well because of our little Milo, Lulu's dog. So I thought this was adorable. So that hopped into my basket. And the final thing that arrived is my block 6 of my Sew by Row block of the month quilt from Fat Quarter Shop, and that's the one for the spools row. And I've been catching up with, there was a series of videos on Riley Blake's YouTube channel of Laurie sewing each block to show you exactly how she pieces them together. The instructions in the book are fabulous, but it's really nice to get a visual, isn't it? So if you are planning on sewing that one, or have started and didn't know, there are those tutorials on YouTube. Okay, well, thank you ever so much for joining me again today. It's been lovely to catch up with you all. As you can see, I've got plenty to be getting on with, so hopefully I'll have some more things to show you on the next episode. But until then, take care. Bye.